What's up, everyone? I'm back to talk about Raiden in the story of Mortal Kombat 1, a simple farmer who eventually rose up to be Liu Kang's champion. I was quite fond of the previous iteration of Raiden, even if he did do goofy things sometimes. That's par for the course, though, with all Mortal Kombat characters. While I was sad to see the Thunder God go, I do like the idea of swapping Raiden and Liu Kang around in their student-master dynamic. It can create some interesting parallels and properly explore storylines that are not previously given proper attention. I think Raiden's personality too can be charming at times. Having a character as virtuous, humble, and yet confident can be a great addition to the game. I like his voice actor as well, and personally think his design is pretty sleek. But those are all traits I could say about old Liu Kang, even as recently as MK11. Similar to how General Shao is currently presented as a watered down Shao Kahn, I personally feel the same way about how Raiden is compared to old Liu Kang. Raiden's very much power of friendship and love conquers all type energy, and those characters definitely have their place in a story, but he's kind of a one-trick pony as it stands, with that being his main trait. This wouldn't be problematic, except Raiden is more or less the main character for at least the first quarter of the campaign. He has the most spotlight as he is the champion of the tournament, and is hilariously almost never seen at any other point in the story afterwards. It leaves a really bad taste in your mouth like, oh, that's it? He came, he saw, he conquered Chapter 3, then refused to elaborate. Some may think he's based or a Giga Chad for that. I personally think it's just goofy writing. He doesn't really struggle as he basically faces Outworld's most powerful warriors and just literally 1v7s them for no reason. So now he's a flat character that is mega overpowered for no reason. He was given the amulet to grant him thunder abilities because he needed to be able to go toe to toe with Outworlders who had powers. So he's clearly above Earthrealm fighters even though Kenshi now has Sento. And he's not the guy who takes down Titan Shang at the end of the game. Yeah, okay, like, this just seems rather goofy to me. So why does this bother me so much? Mortal Kombat 1 is supposed to be a rebrand of the story, and I'm totally fine with that. But if they want to keep telling some of the same stories that weren't given proper justice the first time around, that's okay too. I think that could be cool. But what doesn't make sense is retreading the same character traits or storylines and making it a worse version of the original one. I mentioned before in my General Shao video how they had the idea of making him an Outworld loyalist who was fighting for his country, just for him to really be a bad Shao Kahn when you really think about it. Here, I don't know what they want to do with Raiden. He's just old Liu Kang who is leaning harder into the pure-hearted good guy and faces no conflict or suffers any consequences. Unironically, he is a merry stew. How would I go about changing the story then? What I really want Raiden to be is someone innocent and humble, as he is, facing hard questions that don't have great answers. He needs more conflict, be it with himself or other people. So here are the main changes that I want done to the story that will deeply affect his character. Number 1, he wins the tournament beating Li Mei, Reiko, and Katana only, if it's just him fighting. 2, Madame Bo gets a lot more scenes with Raiden before and after the tournament. 3, Raiden is there for the Damashi reveal. 4, the village of Fengshuan, where he lived at, and I think I'm probably mispronouncing horribly, is attacked. 5, Madame Bo dies. And 6, Raiden fights Dark Raiden from Titan Shang's timeline. So I'll start with number 1. I straight up don't want Raiden fighting a bunch of people. If they want to have it where Earthrealm has one fighter versus a team, sure. But then there needs to be a hard cap on who he beats. If you want to add Motaro or Shiva on a cutscene or off-screen fight, sure. But no one else. The idea that Raiden is that much stronger than all these Outworlders really makes them look weak and non-threatening. Having just 3 people that Raiden could reasonably beat is still convincing to the story and his victory overall without having to devalue Outworld fighters as a joke. Picture it like this. If Raiden only beats a few people, you think, wow, he's pretty strong. He beat multiple people. But to make it extreme, if he beats 100 of their champions, you think, wow, Outworld just sucks. Which I do, and it pisses me off because Outworld shouldn't suck. Li Mei can be picked as first constable from the government or security faction, Reiko selected by Shao to honor the military, and Melina should have been the one to fight him from the royal family, but just like in the story, it ends up being Katana. He doesn't beat the head general though, nor does he beat the strongest daughter. But, by the rules, he still takes victory and proved himself capable. I thought about having the tournament be bracket style involving the whole Earthrealm crew, but I think it's cool that the Outworlders right now are just stronger than them. It's the start of the story, some of the main characters are going to be super weak, and that's totally okay. But that just makes it more rewarding for when they finally do get the powers, the strength, to match them, just like Kenshi and Sento. Next, I'll talk about points 2, 4, and 5, as they'll all be related to the village and Madame Bo. I think Madame Bo could be a huge part in Raiden's arc, and similar to Chris, she was heavily underutilized in my opinion. If you're wondering who is Chris, that's Johnny's ex-wife. But when Liu Kang first approached him to train for the tournament, Raiden was unsure about leaving the village. Madame Bo is the one that convinces him the realm needs him more than the village does. I love this scene because it sets up conflict for Raiden in the future. If you put Madame Bo as a motherly figure for Raiden, someone he loves like family, it helps elevate the stakes. Have her be there to support Raiden before fighting Kitana, calming his nerves, being the one to tell him to only focus on himself and not the outcome, cheering on him in the stands and congratulating him after he wins. Make it known that she's someone that shows up to important events in his life and that there's a genuine connection that they have. That makes it all the more heartbreaking of a death for her to have, knowing Raiden could not protect her. This all goes into my third and sixth point, which is about setting up Raiden to have a conflict with himself, literally and physically. I think the Dark Raiden storyline is something that has never been really done properly or given the proper care, despite being an interesting thought. In MK1, it went as fast as it came. Here, they try to tease about it in the tower ending Raiden has, but I'll talk about why I don't like that later. So how would I piece this all together is by changing the ending completely. There is no Armageddon, there are no multiple timelines being addressed right now, it's just the gang versus Titan Shang. I would have the Earthrealm crew of Johnny, Kenshi, and Kung Lao be at the village, and Raiden be at the statue fight where Damashi is revealed. Titan Shang just revealed himself, and he's trying to use the souls of the undead army to kill Liu Kang while he searches for the Titan power that Jiris hid, which Liu Kang still currently does not know about. It was all planned trap for Titan Shang to lure them here and to die to the statue soldiers with evil Raiden and Sindel as backup. Here, Raiden sees evil Raiden and is confused on what made him like that in his prior self. This isn't perfect, but I think all MK1 needs to do is tell a decent story that transitions old timeline stuff into new timeline stuff, and tries to set up cool plot points along the way. Nothing mind-blowing, just a nice, simple, beginning-to-end adventure. This establishes Shang as the final boss, and it's just about stopping him. No multiple timelines, and while Sindel can die, I think evil Raiden should escape when the fight dies down. However, due to the power of Ermac commanding souls in some of the statues, Titan Shang is taken by surprise that Jared's will overcame all and is an unforeseen problem to his plans. This has Shang retreat for the time being to gather his forces to fully invade, while the others fend off the army trying to escape. I want it to be established later that the reason Shang is not just killing them all when he reveals himself is because in a different timeline, his powers are weakened to try and average out with the current timeline's counterpart. It doesn't even have to be that specifically, but I just need some way to nerf him and keep him from fully being able to reasonably kill everyone right away. I think this can make sense because if you look at it in terms of rules being created by Elder Gods, you could try to spin it that way. Similar to how there were rules before previously that prevented Shao Kahn from merging the realms without the Mortal Kombat tournament. The Elder Gods are confirmed to at least exist as they're directly referenced in Sindel's chapter in the main story, but since they are less important to Liu Kang's leadership than they were to Raiden's, I think this ambiguous rule could be fair game. Moving on, after fighting up the statues, Geras can reveal to Liu Kang that he had been hiding his Titan powers at the village with Madame Bo. Raiden is mortified knowing that they are now in danger and starts to panic. He urges them to hurry as Liu takes Quan Chi, Normal Shang, Raiden, and Geras to defend the village while people like Melina, Ermac, and Kitana gather Outworld forces to prepare for battle. Once Raiden and the others get there, they see things are in bad shape and half the village is destroyed. I personally think here, you could introduce Netherrealm demons and maybe Fatarians, who are Natara's race, searching for the Titan power and destroying everything. People are dying, buildings are set on fire, and the heroes are nowhere to be seen. Raiden goes off to look for them, screaming and calling, and Liu Kang, Geras, Quan Chi, and Shang go to fight off the Netherrealm forces. Here, you can have a fight where he faces Natara, some of the default demons, and eventually can stumble on Madame Bo's shop, where he sees the Earthrealm crew beaten except for Kung Lao, who just gets knocked down as soon as he enters. Raiden then sees Dark Raiden standing over them all and goes to fight him. Dark Raiden is defeated and retreats once again, while Raiden discovers Madame Bo is dead. The person shown to love him and be there for him throughout the whole story is now dead in his arms, and he was not there to protect her. He can then find and use the Titan power to gain the upper hand and challenge Titan's Shang to beat him in combat. You could have their energy cancel out their godhoods, similar to how it's said that the battle with Liu Kang created Mammoth energy before to create the two timelines. I don't think this is an amazing way to explain it, but they did kind of write themselves into a corner by creating this much strength. So what does this all set up? You can establish 1. Raiden has gone through the whole game without having to kill someone, and here, he is understanding he may not have to only do it to protect the ones he loves, but there may be someone he wants to kill, which is Dark Raiden. 2. He can have self-guilt with himself for not being there to defend her, and also anger towards Liu Kang for taking him away in the first place, or even getting the village involved. He suddenly has a dark urge to his nature that he has to process, but there's no time, as he would have to be focused on defeating Titan Shang for the time being. Which, again, you could reasonably explain by him getting control of the Titan power that Geras hid. 3. Leaves Outworlders with more respect from the tournament and power scaling for more ambiguous. 4. Resolves many plot lines like Titan Shang, makes Liu and Raiden not super strong anymore by removing Titan powers, establishes only 2 timelines that could explain DLC characters or dead characters appearing in the future games, still leaves open the Havoc plotline I discussed in my Havoc video, removes some weird fight matchmaking, helps keep the power scaling down all around, and gives Raiden something to do moving forward. He now has questions. He now has anger. He now is lost. I don't even think you should double down on the evil Raiden part, but him genuinely conflicted with himself and exploring that side, eventually meeting evil Raiden again for a young versus old Kratos from God of War type interaction, I think could be very cool. With all that being said, why don't I like the tower ending? It kinda does what I want, and that's the problem. It only kinda does it, and it instantly resolves what I want Raiden to try to go through in the story. This is the plot point that I'm trying to desperately make Earthrealm's champion more interesting with. Why are you trying to resolve everything right away from the main story? Here, Raiden understands that there's evil in his heart, and he goes to Scorpion instead to master it. I get you can't tell everything in the main story, but these are events that could be really, have huge substance to it and should be drawn out. Instead, I would have the ending be more focused around Raiden having an inner conflict with himself, wondering what he could have done differently, what lies in wait in the future, where is Dark Raiden hiding, what's something he could do to get stronger, is he as bad as them if he kills? Just really display his paranoia, self-doubt, and turbulent emotions he's facing right now. He genuinely was a simple farm guy just months ago and is now thrusted into war and dealing with death and having to fight to kill. It's very realistic for me to watch him struggle that way and eventually overcome it like a true Earthrealm champion would. That's just my thoughts. If you disagree on anything or heard misinformation, please feel free to share or let me know. Hope you liked it though, and I'll catch you next time.